Hey, welcome back to the Ready State. I want to talk about a phenomenon I call whack-a-mole. Now, over here is a picture of a knee that you can see doesn't have a nice gap here. So this turns out to be a 46-year-old male, and you can see the difference in height. On this side, you've got nice meniscus, and on this side, there's not so much meniscus. So what's happened is, in standing, this athlete looks like this, and as they rotate, and the femur, which is kind of shaped like an egg, rotates forward, they get this kissing spot here. So that's, we could say it's bone on bone, but, ultimately, bones connect, right? They're just interrupted by some cartilage. So what we have here is a classic kissing bone lesion. We've got impact fractures on both sides. How do I know? Because this is my knee. What I want to talk about is that many of the athletes we work with have undergone real and significant trauma from sport. So I was skiing at 50 miles an hour, racing a stranger. I booted out, slid out, and my ski caught. And this is about 6 or 7 years ago. You can go back to the M1 and see my knee strain. And anyway, I ended up putting my femur through my tibia. And the reason I mention it now is that you see me squat and move all the time. And I definitely have positions that are, feel a little sketchy. Feels a little bit like, bone on bone, right? Like I can feel the bones grind together in my knee. But the reason I mention it is twofold. One is that when we see this kind of trauma, it doesn't necessarily mean pain. I have no pain in my knee. My knee will swell, I'll get a little congestion, but it doesn't have to be this way. So I work really hard on maintaining my range of motion and managing my swelling, and I don't know how long I'm gonna get out of this thing. Eventually, there's only one thing. I'm either gonna get a meniscus transplant, which seems highly unlikely, or I'm cruising towards a total knee replacement, right? And the idea here is that this joint trauma may send out various signals to the body, which means that I'm getting some error messages from the joint, and my body will compensate in kind. For example, when we see a lot of hip dysplasia or hip arthritis or people cruising towards hip replacement, some of those people have really, really stiff adductors. Their adductors are trying to stabilize the joint, right? For me, my calf is always wicked tight, trying to protect that posterior lateral corner. And so what it means is I begin to manage my own error signals or my own body's mechanisms to try to stabilize and compensate that. Now that's a great strategy, that my body is so clever and my brain is so sophisticated. Remember, the brain is the most complex structure in the known universe. Just start with that as a hypothesis. So then, when we have this brain, which can really do a lot of miraculous things, one of the things it does is helps us to continue on and soldier on, which may mean that activities of daily living can be done. I can walk, I can get up and down off the ground, I could feed myself, right? I could probably do a little jumping if I had to, but my brain is going to start to gather other things. And what ends up happening is because my calf gets a little tight, my foot gets a little sore sometimes. And when my foot is sore, I think to myself, hey, I wonder if my calf is tight. And I wonder why my calf is tight. It's not about the foot. Ida Rolf famously said a long time ago, where you think it is, it ain't. Which reminds us that our bodies are miraculous systems and that we need to make sure that we're addressing compensation upstream and downstream. So this may not be trauma for you, right? It may not be asymptomatic trauma. Maybe you have pain in the knee and then these other things. And those other things can contribute to pain and joint dysfunction or how the brain is perceiving what's going on with the body. Or they may not ever be painful, which is why we're always looking at function first. Old statement, we treat the man, not the scan, which means you're not your MRI. It's not useful for me to know what this looks like in my head. For me, what I tell myself is that I have a big, beautiful ball of light in my left knee, and I have a big, beautiful ball of light in my right knee that's not as bright as my left knee, right? And the idea here is until I can't get out of pain, or until I can no longer do the activities that I want to do and occupy my role in society, occupy my role on the team, engage in the things that matter to me, I'll continue to play whack-a-mole. And so when sometimes it's on the inside, or sometimes my hamstring gets tight, or sometimes my quads are a little stiff, what I think to myself is, well, is this because I'm a cyclist, or is this because I like to deadlift, or is this because I have an imperfect joint surface? And the idea here is that if we're doing the things environmentally to take care of ourselves, we're sleeping, we feel safe, We eat whole foods. For me, what I found is that taking some turmeric, getting on the collagen, getting on the cartilage collagen, those things have all helped me manage my swelling and compensation from having these less than perfect surfaces. When I went in to talk to the doctor 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, he said it was one of the worst knees he had ever seen and that I should just bike and swim lightly until I had my knee replaced. And what I said to that person was, you know, I don't think you know me, and they didn't know me. And so what I'm saying is, we don't know you either. And that always function rules, function rules. Stay on your function, manage your compensation, and control the things you can control. Your body is anti-fragile, your body is robust, and if human beings were so fragile, let me tell you, there would be no human beings on the planet. We would all have been wiped out the first time someone herniated a disc or tore a meniscus or had a little labrum fray. You're designed to be 110 years old. Sometimes orthopedic insult happens because we like to go fast and take chances. That's okay. I don't think human beings were ever designed to go 60 miles an hour downhill on skis. We do now. So manage what you can manage. And as our friends at sometimes say, they say, look, if one person has your condition, your symptoms, your issues, and they're pain-free, that means that you can be pain-free. So the idea here is, hey, let's manage what we can manage, control what we can control. You are not your scan. And when some of your joints may be sending your brain some faulty information, your brain feeds back by trying to get tight, don't panic. That is your pattern. And so sometimes when we have a little trauma and you start playing whack-a-mole, that's the nature of the game. You got this.